Hi, I'm Ryan Benjamin. I'm a professional comic book artist. I work for Marvel and DC Comics and pretty much anyone on the planet that's willing to hire me. So I'll demonstrate how I piece all this together. I'll demonstrate a head. So I'm going to use my red pencil. Now, the red pencil is my thinking. This is where I'm going to think. Some people don't like to use the red pencil. The reason why I use the red pencil is that I don't have to erase. I don't have to do any back tracing. It's literally from here moving forward. And when I'm drawing comics, I need to be able to produce a certain amount of pages per day. I want to move as fast as possible. So I stick with my red pencils. Red pencils allows me or gives me the opportunity to quickly lay out the character, the position, where the eyes are going to land, eye socket, mouth, nose, hairline. I can quickly scribble the shape of the head, the jawline, temples, and then if the character has hair, I can quickly scribble, okay, where's his hair? Now I have a better sense of where am I going? And from this point, I don't have to erase it. And when we actually go to inks, you can erase the red marks when you're done. When you scan this in, you can actually take out the red line using Photoshop or anything like that, and no one will ever see the red lines. And another cool thing about it too is that when you're completely done with this piece and you actually sell it or someone sees it, they actually see the process. The process is still there. So you're not erasing anything. You're not seeing just the final stages. You're seeing the beginning, the middle, and then the end stages at the same time. So this is why I like to use the red pencils. It just helps with demonstrating that. Okay, now from here, I know I'm going to draw the eyes first. I always draw the eyes first. The eyes are the windows to the soul. This is how you communicate with people. So once you nail down the eyes, everything else around it is pretty much easy. It's just, you can mess up on the nose, you can mess up on the hair, you can mess up on the head structure, but if the eyes are correct, everything else works. You know, it literally just turns into like a style versus, oh, you got the ears are too small, you know, the nose are too big, you know, it just helps to balance things out. So nail down the eyes first. Once you have that, everything else works. The expression, the intensity, pretty much everything with just the eyes. Now I have the eyes down. From here, I'll immediately go to the eyebrows. The eyebrows, it's just a frame. It's just another framework, but it's laying down the tracks right now. Okay. So you remember in the past how everyone used to, when we were kids, we would have a dot here, dot here, dot here, and then you just connect the dots. These are my dots. Instead of making dots, I'm making just these geometric shapes and just connecting them, basically. So from here, I'm going to go down and quickly draw the base of the nose, quickly draw where the mouth is going to land, quickly draw the bottom of the jaw. And now I have my triangle here. And then from that, I immediately go straight in. I'm not worried about the contours or anything or trying to make all the line work and then go into render. I'm immediately going straight to rendering. Again, the reason why it's for the sake of time. This is a shortcut. This is a way of quickly knocking out this page within 25 minutes or this headshot in like 20 minutes, 25 minutes, 10 minutes. You know, and then once you have it, it's done. And then you can move on to the next panel or the next frame or the next page. So let's say I'm drawing a character. This is just a regular random character. Okay. Now I'm going to go back to those techniques that I was showing you guys before.
How many hours do you draw per day?
All day long. I literally don't stop. I draw from the time I wake up to the time I go to sleep. The only time I stop is to either hang with the wife or hang with the kids or maybe, you know, run an errand or two or this, you know, but that's it. Other than that, I'm on the clock.
Where do you think the love for it comes from?
My love for drawing, oh man, it probably comes from my youth when I was a kid, just drawing all the time, you know. My sister was my first instructor. She showed me what to do, what not to do. She showed me how to draw portraits. And then eventually I remember drawing my first Hulk comic book. This was years ago. I was probably 8, maybe younger than that. I drew my very first Hulk comic book, and the story was the Hulk or David Banner. You know, he was in his lab, and he was mixing chemicals together. You know, and as he's mixing these chemicals, he took it and he turned into the Hulk, and then the Hulk shrunk into this little tiny little Hulk. And then he was running around, the little tiny Hulk was running around like, arr! And then eventually the little tiny Hulk had to make new chemicals to fix himself, and he drank that, and then he turned back into the big Hulk. And that was my little story when I was like 8 years old, something like that. I've heard many artists give this advice: draw every day. It's mandatory. There's no way around it. You can't just draw every 3 months and expect something to come out of this. You can't draw every, once in a while when you feel like it. You need to draw when you feel like it, when you don't feel like it, when you're going to sleep, as soon as you wake up in the morning, while you're eating lunch, wherever it is, make sure you have your sketch pad on you and you're constantly drawing. This style of drawing here, and when you're drawing comics, it's an abbreviated form of art, really. It's the middle point of taking an idea and presenting it to an audience. And this style here is really quick, that you can actually use it to, you can repeat it, you can use it for print, you can use it for pretty much anything. This is why I typically stick with this style. The cool thing about just drawing comics in general is that it's a really cheap way of taking your idea and testing it with an audience. I will always recommend, this style of art, or just going in this direction. It's just a very easy way of transitioning your idea into, reality, bringing your ideas to reality. Even the storytelling part of it is abbreviated, because if you're taking a full paragraph and you're condensing it into like one image, it's even the storytelling part of it is. Now, I'm going to show you some of the techniques that I was doing before when you're drawing here, okay? So watch this. So all I'm going to do is just scribble. Now you have a base. From this base, I'm going to quickly isolate areas. And I'm not afraid to draw right on top of the line. So don't be afraid to do that, because your inker will see that and read it, and they will be able to interpret this. They will be able to see these extra lines and ink those lines, ink them in white. Another cool thing about it is it creates dynamics. There's a lot of energy going on right here, just by doing this. If you have a round object and the round object has the dark area and then the bright area, all you're doing is just drawing that round object, or trying to capture that round object in like at different angles multiple times. So that's all it is. So I'm just drawing it here, drawing it here, drawing it here, drawing it here, drawing it here. And in combination, it starts to create this shape. Okay, now, as you can see, as I'm drawing, my line work it's like that. I'm moving pretty fast. That speed or that motion creates energy, okay? So that energy helps to bring life to the hair. If I wasn't drawing like this and moving my lines like that, this hair would come out looking a lot more stiff. This looks like you have something to work with. That's another cool thing to do. Is you can take your eraser and just kind of add to it. So you can go back through it like this and add some bright areas, add some extra pieces that's in there like that. So let me show you how I would do his beard. I'll give him a full beard. Again, you know, my process, it's ready, set, go. So if I'm constantly looking for something new or moving this or that or trying to change my direction, things slow me down. So I just pretty much stick with my pencil. The only pause I really have is when I need to sharpen. So all these hatch marks that I'm making, it just feeds the hair. So I'm moving, as I'm drawing this, I have this round object, I'm rendering in this direction like that. That's what I'm thinking. Because I'm rendering towards the light. That's something else that I try to teach people. When you're rendering stuff, you always want to render your first lines, you want to render towards the light. This is going to be the hot source. If you have like a round object here, right? And you have a shadow here. So this is your absolute black. Your gray area is going to land somewhere around here in this region, which is going to have all your line work going towards this hot spot, which is right here. So this process is what I'm using to create the beard, but I'm doing it with flavor. I'm doing it with some style. And again, I'm going for speed. This is all strictly for speed. Now, this process I'm using here, from here, you can go in, you can add whatever you're doing. Have a jacket, give them a short hair in the back, this. Give them some straight hair, so they kind of floating in the bottom part. I haven't even drawn his actual ear yet. Give him a little bit more beef back here. There's a good friend of mine, Sean Galloway. He and I used to go to figure drawing classes, and we would just sit there and just draw a lot of models, and we would hang out and just on a Saturday morning and just draw. Now from here, it's pretty much ready to be inked right now. So,
is there anything that you have trouble drawing?
It's not that I have trouble drawing. Is that I just hate drawing these things. I hate drawing robots. Oh man, they're just. There's something about drawing robots that just throws me off. I can't. I can draw it. I just don't like doing it. If I'm going to draw a robot, it needs to look. I need to do something pretty cool. Technical pencils. It's great. You don't have to sharpen ever. But this just feels a little bit more raw. When I have a pencil like this, and you can get a nice line work from this, and it's still nice and dark at the same time. It still has like an organic feel to it. But I'm gonna try to draw some kind of like all these pistons and gadgets and gears and everything. So, to make this look a little bit more robotic, what I'll probably do is just like kind of add like little holes like this. Maybe add a couple of them here. And just repeat certain patterns, like maybe something like this. At least, now it has like somewhat of an organic type of feel to it, instead of so technical and so linear. And now it's more like just a cool looking robot who's coming to destroy all humanity. A little bit of Ultron. I am Ultron. See, now I'm having fun when I'm drawing a robot because it's not so stiff, Another thing too that I really like is to flip my art, which is great because I have a shot of it here. It's flipping it for me, so it's perfect. That way I can see all my mistakes and I can correct it. When I was younger, like I was saying, my major influence came from studying the old artists. And then when I decided, okay, I really want to focus on the human anatomy, I studied Bern Hogarth. I went out, I bought his book, and I would literally trace his work. I would trace it, and I would like, oh man, this guy's amazing. And I would just try to capture his muscle structures and his forms. I took some of his poses and his figures, and I converted it into the Thundercats characters. So you would have, the Bern Hogarth character doing this, but now it's Lionel doing this, So I would use that technique, and that helped me understand, okay, I have this muscle structure, and then I'm going to skin it with a specific character. And that helped me, just forge my brain in that direction. Like, I'm going to draw comics. Yeah, at that time, I didn't even know I was going to draw comics, but I was thinking, I need to go in that direction. How I got into comics was, I was sitting in art class. I went to a college, a small art college called International Fine Arts College. It was in Miami, and I was in class with two guys who ended up working in industry at Image Comics with me, Sean Ruffner and Brett Booth. So we're sitting in class together, and then Brett came up to me. He was like, he came up to all of us. We were in a group, and he was like, you guys got to see this guy. He pulled out Jim Lee's X-Men, and he showed it to me, and I was sitting here like, wow, who is this guy? This guy's amazing. And I'm looking at Jim Lee's X-Men, and I'm like, whoa, I think I want to draw comics. And then he was like, yeah, this guy just came out with a new company with a whole bunch of guys, and it's called Image Comics. And that's when he showed me the Wildcats #1. And I'm sitting here looking at Wildcats #1, and I'm like, okay, I know what I want to do now. I feel like I've been practicing this whole time, just getting good. At a certain point, I didn't know what I wanted to do in life. All I knew was that I can draw. And then once I saw those two comics, I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted to draw comic books. In my head, I was still thinking, oh, how am I going to do this? And then Brett told us, he was like, yeah, Jim Lee just hired me. I'm going to be working at Image Comics. And I'm sitting here in class. I'm like, Brett's going to be working at Image Comics. And here I am sitting, like, I still don't know what I want to do. And so in my head, I'm like, I'm going to follow Brett. I want to do this. So Brett flew out. He came to California, and he started working at Image, and I stayed in contact with him. And while I was talking to him, remember, this was before email. So everything was through phone or handwritten letters. we were still using snail mail. And I told Brett, okay, I want to send you some samples, and can you show this to Jim Lee? So I did an airbrushed piece of Maul. The response that came back was, this is great, let me see more. I was like, done. This is exactly what I'm going to do. And at that time, remember, I didn't know what I wanted to do in school. So I decided I was going to go back to school. So when I was back in college, I had already graduated, and when I went back to school, I was only back in school for about like maybe 2 months. And then that's when I was like, okay, I'm done. I'm not going back ever. I called my dad, and I was like, Dad, I'm quitting. I need you. I already have a degree, but I'm going to quit what I'm taking right now, and I'm going to sit at home and practice because I want to draw comics, but I need you to pay my rent for me. And my dad was like, okay. So he would send me money just so I can pay my rent and eat and survive. And literally all I did was draw, sleep, draw, sleep, draw, sleep. I was that determined to get this job. And I did that for 6 months. I would do one submission each month. So I was sending a piece. The Maul was the first month. Second month, I did another piece. Third month, I did a couple pieces. And each time I would send it in, the response I would get back, this is great, let me see more. This is great, let me see more. And then I started thinking, I know they like Star Trek. I know they like, the whole science fiction type of feel. So I started thinking, okay, what is it going to take for me to wow Jim Lee and make him say, okay, I want you to come work with me? I was like, I'm going to draw the X-Men versus Wildcats in a bar, and I try to create this like science type of, or this Star Trek type of feel around it. So that's what I did. I did 6 pages of that, and one of the pages I copied Jim Lee's page that he did before. So I just took the same layout, but I changed the characters to the Wildcats versus X-Men characters that's in there, and I sent that off to him. And then I'm sitting at home, and while I'm sitting there, I get a phone call, and it's Jim Lee on the other end, and I'm just like, this is not Jim Lee. Really? This is Jim Lee? He's like, yeah, this is Jim. I really like your work. I want you to come work for me, and we're going to send you out and try you out. I say, okay, cool. Hung up the phone, immediately ran to my local comic book shop where I would hang out. It was called Comic Quest at the time, and I went there. My friend Joe Mond, he was the owner, and I would sit there. I actually bursted through the door, and I was like, I'm going to be working for Image Comics, and they all just looked at me like this, like, what? Like, yes, Jim Lee just called me. I'm going to be working at Image Comics, because they already knew about Brett. And so they were all just excited. And that was like the thing for me there, right there. And I was just like, this is amazing. I don't believe it was going to happen. The next thing you know, I'm in California, walking in the studio. That's when I met your dad. That's when I met Scott Williams, Mark Silvestri, Matt Broom was there, Trevor Scott, Scott Clark. They were all there. And then about a week later, Dan Norton came in, Travis Charest came in. I remember Nick Manabat was there, a whole bunch. It was like this, like a studio with a bunch of artists just sitting here, just drawing all day long. Super amazing times, man. You can't repeat that time. That time came and is gone. It's in history books now. It's just, you can't repeat it, you know?
Thank you, Ryan. If you're digging Ryan's art, check out his website and Instagram in the links below. Ryan also teaches at comicprobootcamp.com, where he and a few other legendary comic artists teach the skills needed to become a professional comic artist. We got more lessons with Ryan coming up, so if you're not subscribed, hit those buttons, and we'll see you in the next video.